Well, since she put me down, I've been out doing in my head.
You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
This is Where You Live with Gene and Tony, and we're broadcasting from the Natural Green Lawn and Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency, and Extreme Exteriors. You can count on Extreme Exteriors for expert installation of exterior siding, roofing, soffits, fascia, decks, windows, and more. With their knowledge and experience, they can design the perfect solution to make your home beautiful and energy efficient, saving you maintenance and money for years to come. Call Extreme Exteriors at 763-441-1334 and tell them that Gene and Tony sent you. Time now to hear from the Community Associations Institute. The CAI Minute is brought to you by New Concepts Rental Management. Whether you're an accidental landlord or a seasoned investor, New Concepts Rental Management can help you achieve your financial goals. New Concepts Rental Management can advise and guide you through every aspect of the business. Give me a call, Tony Crockett, at New Concepts Rental Management, 952-922-2500.
Are you a volunteer in your homeowner association? Maybe a residential property manager wanting to increase your industry knowledge and obtain professional credentials in property management. Are you a vendor or professional offering services to homeowners and associations or property managers? If you said yes to any one of those questions, then join the Community Association Institute. The CAI is a great organization, helping you be informed and more proficient in your homeowner association board member or property manager role. It's also a great way to network with potential clients. For nearly 40 years, CAI has provided education and resources to volunteer homeowners who govern community associations and the professionals who support them. Visit cai-mn.com to learn more. That's cai-mn.com. The Minnesota chapter of CAI holds monthly managers' luncheons, board member education training, property manager certification training, and much more. It also produces a bi-monthly informative magazine called Minnesota Community Living. Why not join the Community Association Institute today? You can do so online at cai-mn.com and select membership.
I want to remind our listeners that we have a hotline where you can leave a message about your opinions, your thoughts.
Yes, indeed we do.
You can pat us on the back and give us a smack in the face if you don't like what we're saying. Call us at 952-224-2668. Leave us a message, and we'll talk about it on our next program.
And they can leave that message anytime.
24/7.
24/7.
They can also email Gene. What's the email address?
Maybe the best place to go is go to our website at www.newconceptsgroup.com. You can pull down on the menu on the webpage for the radio show, and we have our phone numbers there. We have our email addresses there so people can write to us as well.
All right.
Well, we were talking about this story from the Colorado Springs Gazette. The Speaker of the House, no less, is not a fan of HOAs, and he gave his own example of a mistake that he made, and people will make these mistakes honestly. I can understand someone for some reason gets confused and says, oh, my HOA fees are probably automatically in my monthly payment that I make to the mortgage company, and that'll get paid. That's not the case. The part that I'm having a hard time with, though, Tony, is buying his story.
You are?
Yes, I am.
You think there's more to the story, perhaps?
I do. He made the comment. He said, it wasn't until after he received in the mail that there was a judgment, a court order,
and a
lien was filed on his property, that he realized that he was delinquent in his HOA dues. I want to take a look at that for just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the case. I want to try and be as generous to him as I can. I will give him the fact that maybe no one in the association sent a letter when he was 1 month late, 2 months late, 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But if the association is going to put a lien, they need to get a judgment. To get a judgment means they need to go to court.
So they have to file.
They need
in court,
to file.
Right?
Yes. And what do we know about filing in court cases? The person is notified of the court.
The defendant has to be served.
Exactly.
Right, with papers.
You can't. It can't happen without their knowledge at all. And so I'm thinking, here he is going months and months. He's getting mail, and he just doesn't think it's important enough to read.
That could be. I buy that. He obviously didn't think it was important enough to read his purchase agreement and his closing documents, because if he had, he would have known he was living in a homeowners association and that he had to make a monthly payment to the association.
Exactly.
So it's another story of personal irresponsibility that's now going to snowball and create a bunch of new laws for the state of Colorado.
Yeah. He makes this comment. He says there needs to be much more accountability, he said, in HOAs. I agree with that statement, but the accountability is not just with the association and or its management company. There is accountability that every homeowner has as well.
Right.
It's
a two-way street.
Exactly. They need to be an adult. They need to be responsible. And this idea, I'm sorry, he just sounds...
I have no sympathy at all.
He sounds like he's just whining, and it sounds like sour grapes.
He says we're supposed to be a democracy, but sometimes HOAs have dictatorial authority within communities. That is blatantly false. The board of directors is elected by the people who live in the community, and they're operating under a set of governing documents. We mention this every week.
Yes.
How is that a dictatorship?
Yeah, why is it that he's calling it a dictatorship? Because there's just a couple of people that are in charge. I would turn around and ask him, as the Speaker of the House, there are really only a few handful of people that are making all the decisions on all the laws that take place in the state of Colorado where you live, Mr. Speaker.
Right.
Is it a dictatorship by virtue of the fact that there are just a few people that are in charge? I would say no.
That's right.
There's something larger here. We live in a republic. That means that we have a representative government.
That's right.
Because the understanding is, if you try in just a pure democracy to get everybody together to try and make a decision each and every time before you move forward, you know how difficult that is, because you have these huge numbers of people to try and inform, to try and get information from. And so it makes sense, a representative government. Mr. Speaker, you understand that. That's why you ran
for office.
For office in Colorado.
Yeah.
Why can't you understand that for an HOA? Now, it's not as many people as the state of Colorado, but it's still a representative government, not a dictatorship. And the accountability is there. If that homeowner or other homeowners do not like how they are being governed, it's the same process that Mr. Speaker goes through too. There's an election ever so often, and you can say, you're doing a good job, we're going to put you back in, or we don't think so, and we're going to put someone else in your place.
Yep.
And so it is. I think that what he's talking about here is just silliness, really.
Personal vendetta.
Yeah. The other comment I'd like to make before we go off on this subject here, he also said with enthusiasm, he said, I'd love to see a bill that gives people in HOAs a way to enforce their rights. Again, I'd like for him to think about what we have in our government that's already in place. Is there something that is already in place that gives people a way to enforce their rights when they're impinged upon? Let's see, what would the court system? If you don't like the way something is going, it's called civil court, and the reason why is if it's a criminal matter, of course, the government law enforcement is pushing because they've broken the law. Otherwise, if it's between civilians, it's called civil court because there may be a misunderstanding, and so you bring it to a court to let that decide. HOAs do have something that's in place, a court system. Why do we need to add something else, another layer of bureaucracy, which just seems to muddle things up? In all my years of what I've seen of government, I have never seen more government make things more efficient and more clear.
In fact,
I just haven't.
we know it does just the opposite. And if you're in a homeowners association, you're in the unique position of operating your own community. You get a direct say in what goes on. You get to run for the board of directors.
Yes.
You are hands-on, grassroots democracy in action. To bring in the state to start controlling that or more of that and is crazy. You lose freedom. You're shoveling your freedom into someone else's hands.
All this is just a man who has now more power by being elected, and now it sounds like I said, sour grapes. He wants to get even for the way he feels he's been wronged. So that's what I think is taking place here.
So there.
Yes, yes. Well, we need to take another break. Don't go away, folks. There's so much more of Where You Live with Gene and Tony after these messages.